unacceptable. We are deeply concerned by the spread of online hate and speech and fake news, which are proliferating at worrying speed and even difficult to keep track of. We are already in contact with social media platforms to remind them of their obligations.
Hello everyone, welcome back to one of my rambling, ranting, sometimes not so informative video. But forgive the wind, the microphone I am using is total shit. I'm trying to put my back against the wind so it doesn't affect the video so much. And today I wanted to talk about, I'm gonna go back to the Middle East. I mean, there are still things happening and the situation keeps surprising us. And for example, what I notice, I've talked about the communication, the information space, and the campaign, the pro-Israeli campaign ongoing. Yesterday I talked about the celebrities pro-Israel. I will go back to them in a second. And but what worries me is not so much the pro-Israeli campaign, because everyone is free to think what they want and express themselves. This is my firm belief. But what I see now, what I start to see, it's a censorship campaign. And this is much more worrying than just a pro-genocide campaign, right? So there is this page, they have Instagram and they have Twitter. It's called Palestinaoi. I think it's a Spanish-speaking outlet, if I am not wrong. And today they published that they were forbidden by Instagram to publish live feed from the situation in Gaza for 82 days. They have a collection of very shocking images, and but it is proof, it is real journalism, it is what is happening on the ground. It is the amount of atrocities that are being committed as we speak on the Gaza citizens. And so, yeah, this is kind of worrying. Of course, they were not deleted yet, at least so far. But why would they forbid them to publish real-time videos, live stream from what is happening there? Why would they do that? I mean, Gaza is under enormous stress. Hospitals being bombed, civilian areas being razed. I mean, indiscriminate violence, completely atrocious. I also stated before that this channel does not show this kind of images. I do not do war porn. It's you can go to plenty of places to see these images. They are widely available. I myself can do well without them. I do see them, but I don't like to amplify them. Forgive me for that if some of you wanted me to show this kind of images, but they are out there, and so yeah. So, for example, this journalist, Eva Karen Bartlet, Canadian journalist. I mean, she's controversial to the West, of course. I knew of her first when she was covering in 2016 the Syrian war with all these West-backed Turkish and West-backed fundamentalist groups, and she was debunking the Western narrative there. She had a YouTube page for 15 years, and now YouTube deleted her. I mean, now she joins the collection of deleted YouTubers. Deleted for what? For speaking their mind, many times for telling the truth. This is what is most worrying. It's simply that this narrative that they show does not play into, it's not in tandem with the narrative, the Western narrative. And so, yeah, when they become too noticeable, too visible, they tend to be censored on YouTube and other outlets, other platforms as well. I mean, even the former, I'm not sure former if it's still or not. I call it former. I think it's former porn star Mia Khalifa. She's I think she has Lebanese background, and she spoke out against spoke out in favor of the Palestinian cause, and immediately she lost contracts with I think she had contracts with the Playboy magazine or something, and she was censored as well for having a pro-Palestinian stance. I wonder what crime is that, or what misinformation is that, to acknowledge the human rights violations against Palestinians for decades now. On the other hand, you have, for example, yesterday I was browsing Facebook pages, searching for pages who dedicate themselves to cover this issue, and I found a Facebook page called "I Stand with Israel," and this page, I went to take a look at it because we need to check both sides, right? We can't just. I'm gonna sit here for a while. It's easier. Look at this beautiful small beach. And then I went to see what kind of things do they publish and if there is some truth in there or some real information. And the thing is, immediately the first publication that I saw was fake news. And it was utter bullshit. I explain. There were images of a bombing, claimed Idlib bombing, Idlib province bombing in Syria, and the comments of the video was, look at what the Russians are doing in Syria, bombing civilian areas. It's like, what the hell? Well, I mean, and then there were the comments, why people don't see this, they only see one side, and blah, blah, blah. You know, the usual ignorant comments. So I went to check some of the people who made these comments, and what I find out in the first profile I researched, it's immediately came across to me as a fake profile. And then I saw another and another and another, and all of this was very, very dodgy, this information, quotation marks. So yeah, things like this are, there is a campaign ongoing, and you have several levels of disinformation. You have the most refined disinformation, the good disinformation, the one that looks credible, right? And then you have just trash like this one. Yeah, talking about censorship, France also banned demonstrations, pro-Palestinian demonstrations. I mean, I would understand if they ban like demonstrations just concerned with the subject in general. Of course, when I say understand, I would never agree with it. I mean, I would somehow understand the reasons, but when they say banning pro-Palestine demonstrations, and it's not just banning, they repress them with force. There are plenty of images of pepper spraying demonstrators by the shock police. Yeah, this is symptoms of the democracy. When I argue with people, people sometimes tell me, people that I know in conversations tell me, so you're always defending these dictatorships. Can't you realize you live in a freedom paradise and we can speak our minds here and no problem? And I tell them, yeah, because this has gone an extra mile in the censorship sophistication. You can speak whatever you want, but when you are doing this speaking, if you are being effective and in fact consequential, then the hammer will be dropped on you. As long as you're unconsequential, as long as your words die there or have no repercussion whatsoever, nothing happens to you. It's the same. I mean, YouTube does the same, right? I'm on YouTube and I'm risking censorship, but I know that I haven't been censored because I'm a little channel, and I am not even eligible for monetization. So, and I just recently reached 2,600 subscribers. So yes, very little. Anyway, but the atrocities committed in Gaza, or in Palestine, they are even admitted by Israeli former officials. And I found this interesting story by The Intercept. And it was from 2018. And if you go and watch this video or read this story, you think they are talking about from yesterday. It's claimed that Brigadier General Itzhak Segiev, former Israeli military governor in Gaza in the early 80s, told the New York Times Jerusalem bureau chief that he was giving money to the Muslim Brotherhood, the precursor of Hamas, on the instruction of Israeli authorities. Yeah, so there is this story going around that Hamas is partially a creation of Israel. And actually the evidence points this to be true. And partially is the key word here. And it has enough meaning. I mean, if they are the enemy to destroy, how come it was you that helped to create them? This was done to counter the PLO in this logic of divide to rule, divide to conquer, because the PLO was the dominant galvanizer for Palestinians in the Gaza Strip, and so they thought it was a good idea to create this group, other faction, because it would be beneficial to see these factions competing with each other while Israel dominated the scene. So, in very broad lines, this is it. And then this Brigadier General said to New York Times, Hamas, to my great regret, is Israel's creation. This one was not the first that I mentioned, I'm sorry. This was Avner Cohen, former Israeli religious affairs official who worked in Gaza for more than 2 decades. He told the Wall Street Journal in 2009 about he told that back in the mid-80s, Cohen even wrote an official report to his superiors warning them not to play divide and rule in the occupied territories. Yeah, and then they say, of course, they created the monster. Meanwhile, there are reports that already 1 million are displaced. The wind might be heard on the mic now because I'm turning against it. Are already displaced. And let's just recall one other atrocity episode. I think it was done yesterday or the day before, that when Israel gave notice for people in North Gaza to flee to the south, they went on and bombed convoys, trucks full of people, full of civilians, women, children. I say women and children because this is the stuff they like to focus on when they do propaganda, war propaganda, to mobilize people for war. But this time it's true. I mean, they are doing massive genocide over there, and this insanity needs to stop. And what does the European Union do? They make statements like, for example, Ursula von der Leyen, you know, the low-cost version of the incarnation of evil on earth. We are all Israel. We are all Israel. They say these sentences. I don't recognize the European Union leadership anymore. I mean, they put their teeth out recently, and this is it's not going to end well for the Europeans, because if this trend continues, the warmongers dominating the scenes, yeah, freedom was supposed to be different. I mean, the warmongers are traditionally the US government, the US foreign policy, but no. At least in perception, because we know that Europeans have been also involving in the same wars and destroying countries like Libya. And yeah, so there is a censorship spree going on. and about these celebrities that I've talked about in yesterday's video, they've been caught in their declarations in support of Israel to be using image of children and apartment buildings destroyed from Gaza, claiming that they are Israelis. I mean, my theory is that this is a paid campaign, all right? Maybe some of these people, they haven't been in the screen lights. I don't know if it's the correct expression. They haven't been working actively, or maybe they are going through some financial crisis or something, and they were paid huge amount of money to just spew up crap. Or maybe they were convinced and they are stupid enough to believe it and then reproduce it, use their name to amplify this message. But this is worrying nevertheless. And of course, the voices of reason come from China, come from Russia. They are the ones who appeal to a moderate stance, people to sit at the negotiation tables, talk it over. But these are not credible to the Western people, or to most of them, most of the Western people. Or at least most of the Western elites that then want us to believe that most of the Western people are against, have this perception. Yeah, and so this is the scene. Of course, Iran keeps putting out warnings for Israel to stop this genocide. I mean, Israel is also bombing Syria, is bombing Lebanon, it's firing everywhere. And I know that massive aid will come to Israel if things get hot. And this could be the outbreak of a very serious conflict. Okay guys, this is all for today. Thank you very much. Guess where I'm going now? Yeah, you guessed it, to work. Bye bye.